Hi, I am Hariharan Raghunathan, XLRA PMIR 2010 pass out. I think now they call this program Human Resource Management, but earlier they used to call by a long and an archaic word as Personnel Management and Industrial Relations. I'm currently working as an HR manager with Microsoft Corporation at their corporate headquarters based out of Seattle. As a HR manager for one of the large engineering teams that builds the Microsoft search engine Bing.com, I drive systemic, organizational, and people related programs that are aligned to the business strategy. Simply put, the people programs would include performance management, reward allocations, influencing cultural evolutions, management and leadership developments, etc. So, to begin with a disclaimer about my natural bias. I've been working with Microsoft for just about 5 years since the time I graduated from XLRI. So whatever I'm going to tell about HR or the industry would be more biased towards the technology sector in general, where I've worked most of the time, and my observations are based on what I have read and heard from my batchmates in other sectors. So Gaurav did reach out to me to share a few thoughts to this HR batch of 2015 and 17. I'm not sure whether I'm a thought leader in the field of human resources to really say something totally new, but I consider Charlie Munger, who is basically the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, as one of my role models, who often talks about the idea of inversion. Invert, always invert. This is actually a thought which came from one of the famous mathematicians you read about, is Jacobi. Yeah. But what Munger tries to explain in his idea of inversion is this: it is in the nature of things, as Jacobi knew, that many hard problems are best solved when they are addressed backwards. So, to invert my own situation here, I asked this question to myself: if I had an opportunity to go back to school and redo my MBA in HR with this additional knowledge I've acquired over the last few years, what would I do differently? Probably that would make sense to be the few thoughts I can share with this batch. If I get an opportunity, I would do three things, and these three things basically would be my thoughts to this batch. First is to understand and define my circle of competence. If you look at the career choices in the industry, once you finish an MBA in HR, it can be broadly grouped into these three categories: a line HR, a corporate HR, or an HR consultant. I'm only focusing on the industry, and hence the career choice of teaching is not included in this, of course. Like Gaurav, who's my best friend, whom we met in XLRI, was chosen a great career in the field of academia. But if in the industry, if you just focus these three of line, corporate HR, or an HR consulting, let's go one by one in this. As a line HR, other than a factory setup, you would support the business, any one of the business leaders, with various people related programs. It could be hiring, performance management, training, or employee relations and investigations, or maybe handling layoffs and even firing of employees or managers under that particular organization to ensure business success, right? If this is a factory setup, you could add some additional responsibilities which are more focused towards trade union management, like collective bargaining and extra. Or even, like, let's take the example, even shop floor productivity. So these are some of the areas what you would focus. But all these things I group into one big head, basically, that is line HR. The next area which I call is like corporate HR. Here your focus is more kind of a center of excellence role, where you're developing like broad programs at a company level, like developing a training program for employees across the company, or or designing a compensation philosophy, pay models, benefit structures, or even like integrating different companies when they go through acquisitions and mergers, even or in the case of even spin-offs, how do you handle those situations? So these are some of the areas what you would handle in the role of a corporate HR, which are kind of more of a center of excellence role. The third option, basically what you've got basically, is like get into an HR consulting role, where you would manage almost every category of the activity mentioned in the above two roles. But you'd handle this across multiple companies as an external consultant. If you look at these two roles of line HR and corporate HR, it's more of an internal consultant. The third is basically an external consultant, but it's across different companies and industries. So in the first few months, spend in time in understanding these career options and various HR functional areas and define clearly what your circle of competence is. It need not be the same as your friends and need not be a job that is given by a top company in your campus. I remember my batchmates simply went mad for some companies because every other person in the batch were also mad of. It's kind of like a network effect, I would say. This is total herd mentality. You define your circle of competence. Identify the area which you really enjoy and you're passionate about. Work on these areas. It may be labor laws, compensation, organization behavior, training and development, etc. But define it well and stick to it early. Work towards them. And you would make the best job on that area in the campus if you do this. The second point which I want to drive is very important. It's like avoid surface level knowledge and get deeper understanding. Once you've identified your circle of competence, don't study at a surface level. Get really deep and understand the concepts really well. Try to read and research as much in that particular area from books, research articles, or latest industry trends but really get deeper. This can happen only if you focus on few things. If you spread too thin, you'd be at surface level. Let's take an example. If compensation or organization behavior is your passion, better become an expert in that, of knowing things in each and every area of that particular chosen subject you have. Okay, and this would really help you as well as your future employer. The third important concept which I would stress is multidisciplinary thinking. Identifying your circle of competence and getting deeper in understanding should not stop you from focusing on multidisciplinary thinking. This is once again a learning from me from Charlie Munger in his famous speech on elementary worldly wisdom. He says, what is elementary worldly wisdom? Well, the first rule is that you can't really know anything if you just remember isolated facts and try and bring them back. If the facts don't hang together on a lattice work of theory, you don't have them in a usable form. You got to have models in your head, and you got to have an array of your experiences, both vicarious and direct, on this lattice work of models. You may have noticed students just trying to remember and pound them back what is remembered. Well, they fail in school and in life. You got to hang experience on a lattice work of models in your head. All these words are from Charlie Munger, of course, where he says a mental model that he calls out is just basically a representation inside your head of an external reality. So to build a lattice work of mental models, you need to read, learn, and experience concepts across multiple disciplines. Let us take an example and go through this. If you chose compensation as your circle of competence and being an HR consultant is your passion, get a deeper understanding of the various compensation philosophies, reward programs, compensating executives, various pay mixes across multiple industries, etc. And get a really deep understanding of the subject. But to be really good and to be really an awesome expert in this particular field, you got to know models across various disciplines. It's just not compensation. You need to know, well, various models across multiple disciplines. If the example for you to handle is maybe like design an executive compensation package, you definitely need to know the basic concepts from one of your favorite areas, compensation. In addition to that, you would also need to know the various concepts from different fields. In the field of psychology, you would need to know the power of incentives. The different reward programs incentivize different behavior. From the field of finance and economics, you should understand the concepts of corporate governance, net present value, compounding, employee stock ownership and vesting, stock option valuation, or otherwise you call it Black-Scholes model, etc. From the field of labor laws and regulations, you need to understand taxation, disclosure of salaries, and compliance. Yeah. So this would give a sense of why you would still need to study various areas, which all would add to more than the sum of parts to get a better outcome of the one area you're really focusing. To summarize, the first thing is identify your circle of competence. The second is avoid surface level knowledge and get a deeper understanding in the area you choose. The third is focus on multidisciplinary thinking. And do not fret about placements. If you focus on these basics right, you would make to the best job you're really passionate about. And my best wishes to the IM Ranchi HR batch of 2017. Thank you.